area of circles for today. I don't know how much we're going to finish, but we're going to get started on it. I'm wondering if we should do area of circles first. You know what? Let's do this. Let's cross this out for the time being. Let's do circumference first. I think circumference will probably be a little easier for us. We'll get to area of circles either tomorrow or the next day. Okay. But let's do circumference first. Now, when we talk about circumference, definitely we're talking about, again, we're still going to use circles. But if I had crossed out area of circles, and now I say we're going to do circumference, any idea what circumference will be measuring? Edsel? Yeah, the distance around the circle. Very good. So, in other words, circumference is kind of like the what? It's kind of like the perimeter of a circle. Okay? Because we're going to measure today the distance around a circle. Okay, which is going to be a little bit different. They don't necessarily call it perimeter because it's not necessarily 100% the same as how we find perimeter of like a square. How would you find the perimeter of a square? In other words, how would you find the distance around a square? And we did have a special formula for it, but we also had a very general formula that would apply to any polygon. There's three words. Something, all, sides to find the perimeter. Yeah, add all sides. If I had a square, okay, and I had a square that looked like this, and it measured 4 inches on a side. And if I wanted to find the perimeter of that square, and I added all these sides, I'd have 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, which would equal 16 inches, okay? But that phrase, add all sides to find perimeter, why is that hard to apply to a circle? Mariah, it doesn't necessarily have any sides. There's not really any defined sides on a circle. So we've got to use kind of a different formula altogether. And in that, there's something about a circle that I need to understand. Okay? Here's a circle with what we'll call the center. Okay, that point in the center. When I get a measurement from the center out to one of the outer edge of the circle. Okay. This here is known as your radius, R. If I get a measurement from my center from one side all the way to the other, that is known as diameter, or D. What is the relationship between R and D of a circle? You notice the relationship there between the two. Yes? Radius is halfway across the circle through the center, right? Diameter is all the way through the center to the other outer edge of the circle. If I had a circle, and sometimes when you're given the homework, given the assignments, given problems to run through, they don't always give you R. They don't always give you D. Sometimes they give you R. Sometimes they give you D. You're going to have to figure from one or the other. But if I had a circle and they say it's 10 inches, from the center to the outer edge is 10 inches. So what would R equal for this particular circle? What is radius? Tequila. It's 10. Can I find D if I know R? So if it's 10 inches from the center here, how many is it going to be from the center here? Put them together. Eli. 20 inches. Okay. If I have another circle, and we'll say it's 6 centimeters, all I need is that measurement to find R and D. What do you know? Casimir? Which is that, R or D? R is 6. Then D must be 12. If I have a circle that measures 11 feet, which is which? Mariah. Diameter is 11. Very good. What's radius? Desi? Well, which one? Liam? 5.5. Or we could say 5.5. Now, how did you get 5.5 or 5.5 from 11? If this is what it measures all the way across, and I need to find out halfway, I need to divide by 2. That'll give me 5.5, or I take my 11, divide by 2, and I get my 5.5. Either way. Okay. For today, don't worry too much, because your formula for circumference of a circle is going to be pi d. In English, circumference is going to equal, what is pi equal to? 3.14 times d. This here might be the formula for circumference that you're going to make the most sense out of. So make sure you get it down. And make sure you get it down somewhere where you can find it. That was also the point today. So when you get new formulas, okay. Yes. What is pi? And is it only 3.14? No, it's got multiple digits. Now, when you think of pi, let me see if I can just give you the dictionary definition of it. It's the relationship of, what is it? Just want to make sure I give you the right information. Okay. Finding circumference. Okay. Since the formula is 3.14 times d, step 1 is find d. Make sure you get this down. Step 1 is find d. Now, sometimes they'll give you d, sometimes they'll give you r, and you'll have to find d from r, which isn't that hard. Step 2, we're going to take that 3.14 and multiply by that newly found d. Step 3, we will round, and depending on what they want you to round to, it'll tell you on the assignment, or sometimes it's tenth, sometimes it's hundredth. You'll just have to pay attention, but just step 3 is round. And then step 4, label. And if we're labeling circumference, which is kind of like labeling perimeter, how would I label that? Because remember, there's a certain way that we label perimeter, there's a certain way that we label area. Frank, not squared, just regular inches or feet or centimeters, okay? And it's distance around. Because we're not measuring square units. We're just talking about regular units, okay? So let's take a look at number 2. We're on 4-9. Step 1 is to find D. So for number 2 on 4-9, what is D? Eli? 22. Very good. 22 meters. Good. Step 2 is I'm going to take that 3.14 and I'm going to multiply it to the 22. Okay? So let's give ourselves a little bit of room here and let's set this up. 3.14 times 22. So 8, 2, 6. As I move over, I have to put a 0. 8, 2, 6, 8, 10, 7, 9, 6. One thing you want to be careful of when you multiply with 3.14 is that you're going to always have at least, what? 2 decimal places, at least. So we go 1, 2, 69.08. Okay? What? What do you mean? Because my decimal's here. I don't have anything after the decimal for that one. Is that what you mean? No, see, we got 2 places there. We don't have anything there. So we don't count any of those. Yes? Whatever you got to do. Sure. Whatever is easiest for you. All right, now, what is it that they're asking us to round to? Let's get that straight. Liam, nearest hundredth. So as I look at 69.08, here's my step 3. What digit represents my 100th place? Liam. This here is my 100th place. 10th, 100th. Is there anything behind that that I can round to the nearest 100th? 0. Is that going to change anything? So step 4 is 69.08, and what's the label? Meters. Follow the steps. Follow the steps. You've got your sheet. Try number 4. Skip number 3 for now. Try number 4. All right, so number 4 looks like this. It's a circle and says 13 yards. Okay? All right. So step 1, find D. What are they showing us? Are they showing us R or are they showing us D? DeKayla. D. So what is D? 13 yards, right? So step 2 says take whatever D is and multiply it by 3.14. 3.14 times 13. So let's set that up. 3.14 times 13. 4 times 3, 12. 4, 9. Drop the 0. 4, 1, 3. 2, 8, 10, 4. With how many decimals? 2 gives us 40.82. Okay. Step 3, round. Here's my 100th place. Is there anything after which I rounded to? So my final answer for number 4 is 40.82 yards. Have you got it? Good. Have you followed the steps and the steps were helpful to you? Yeah, the steps, if you follow the steps and you understand, bottom line, if you are decent at multiplying and you know the difference between R and D, you're going to be in good shape. You'll be in good shape. All right? It looks like a lot, but it's really not that bad when you follow the steps. Let's take a look at number 3 together. Okay? We've got our steps. Find D. 3.14 times D. 3 says round. 4 says label. So when we look at number 3, we've got this circle and 0.87 feet. Okay? That's kind of what we're working with there. Now, if I need to go to step 1, which is find D, do they have D up there or is that R? It's R. So what I need to do is find D from this R. If it's 87 hundredths of a foot from the middle to the side, to the edge, how much is it going to be from that way too? Another 0.87, right? 8,700. So I've got 2 options to find D. Give me one option in which I could use to find D. Carlos. I could take R and multiply by 2. Or Larissa, or I could say 8,700 plus 8,700. Give it a shot and see if you can come up with a D. Who's got a D there? Yeah. 1.74 feet. Yes? Yes? Good. Step 2. Let's take 3.14 times 1.74. So, we're going to have a doozy here, but let's stay with it. 4 and 4 is 16. 5, 12. As I move to the 7, I put 1, 0. 28. 9. 21. As I go to the 1, how many zeros? 2, 4, 1, 3. Let's add them up. 6, 13, 3, 12, 16, 4, 5. Yes, good. How many decimals? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where is my 100th place? Right here. Now, do I have some action after it? Yes, I do. Is this 3 big enough to change that 6 to a 7, or does it stay a 6? So my final answer for step 4, this was 3, is 5.46. Do I need the 2 zeros? Feet. There it is. How do you know if you're way off or if you're close? Can you determine if you're way off or if you're close? Yes. If I look at my original, you have to find D, and if you can't find D correctly, you're going to be in trouble anyway. But if once you find D and establish what D was, what would you round 3.14 to? 3. How about 1.74? 2. What's 3 times 2? Okay. Did we get something that was in the neighborhood of 6? 5.4? Close enough, right? Close enough. If we go back and we take a look at the other one, here I had 3.14 times 13. 3.14, I can round to 3. What's 3 times 13? 39. What do we get for an answer? 40.82, right? Close enough where it's not going to raise too many red flags. So you can go back and check and say, am I somewhat close? That's not going to prevent you from catching every single mistake that you might make, but at least if you have, like, here we had, 5.46. If you've got, like, 803, then you know you're off, okay? But it gives you something to go back to and take a look at, okay? So we did 3. Try number 6. Try number 6. Yep. So step 1, find D. What's D? They gave us D, our lucky day. Step 2, take our 3.14, multiply by 18.5. Can you estimate beforehand? Sure. 3.14, you can always round to 3. Now 18.5, maybe you want to use what, which is close? 20. How about just 20? Right? Because you can all say 3 times 20 is, see, so we should get something in the neighborhood of 60. Do we have to line up the decimals when we multiply? Nope. Because we take care of the decimals at the end. So let's do the work. 20, 7, 15, drop a 0. 32, 11, 25, 2 zeros, just times 1. 3, 1, 4, 4, 1, 3, however. Now we're going to add this up. 0, 9, 10, 2, 7, 8, 5. How many decimals do we have here? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Once I've inserted the decimal, then I can establish the rounding. What digit represents my 100th place? The 9. When I look after it at the 0, is that 0 big enough to change the 9? No. So my final, step 4, this was step 3, is 58.09, and I think it was what, meters? And there we go. Close enough to what was our estimation when we started? 60. Okay. Now, would that have saved you? Knowing that we should get something around 60? Would that have saved you? Because you got a little bit too decimal happy, right? You went 4 places. So you had something like 5 point, right? Which looking at it, you say, wait, that's not right. 5 isn't really that close to 60. Okay, so it helps to just even give it that glance and say, yeah, you know what? This is what it should be. Yes, Desi. You would change it to the next number up. If, for example, Desi, if it was, we can use the example, 58.09, and then it was a 6 instead of a 0 afterwards, and we said, okay, is that 6 big enough to change the 9? And we'd say, yeah, but we change it to a 10, that would make it 58.1. Okay, but luckily we didn't have to worry too much about it. Where are we for time? Let's see. You have your worksheets? Let's do this. Worksheet 4-9. Let's do number 7, 8, and 9. And then we can also say retake of formula